Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we wrap up the 363 card submission with this little mini stack of cards, but believe it or not, you will be surprised at how much value is in this particular stack of cards, mainly because of what is stacked up right here. So if you haven't been checking out the channel recently, or you missed a couple of videos, over the past month or so, I released 2 PSA graded return videos, basically showing some stuff at the back end of a very large 363 card submission. Obviously 302 of those cards were related to a vintage lot, and then the rest of the cards were basically, you know, me just wanting to add cards and get them graded. It is a very fun part of the hobby, and I do enjoy it very much. So without further ado, let's take a look at the remainder of the cards right here. Today's video obviously will be a little bit shorter because we won't have as many cards to go through, but without further ado, and you know, knowing that it'll be tons of fun anyway, let's begin. First card up is a Near Mint 7 Metagross EX from EX Power Keepers. Good looking card. As I always say, when it comes to the ultra rares from this era, this is what triggers nostalgia for me. This is what really kind of brings me back to those days, and so I go out of my way to collect them. I really kind of go out of my way to take a look at these cards because I think they're beautiful, and I think they're awesome, and I think that they really do a great job with the artwork here. So Metagross is one of my favorite Pokemon, as many of you know by this point, given the amount of cards that, you know, where Metagross is. And obviously I'm super excited for something like Chilling Reign, which I'm pretty sure will have a Metagross V and a Metagross V Max, and probably even a super rare version of that card. But here is a super rare version of the card from way back when, in 2007, and ironically enough, it graded a 7. Probably a combination of scratches in this corner, which got it the grade that it did, but all in all, really cool card. They really do a lot with the 3D artwork, which I love. And yeah, so here's a card that I think many of you are going to get a kick out of. Very rarely do I ever go out of my way to submit something modern. And the only reason I would submit something super modern is mostly because I want to get it graded and have it in my collection. So here is one of those cards that I literally Hail Married and bought off of eBay. I bought it for like 138 bucks after taxes, and you know, didn't have one, didn't pull one, never did, probably never will given the prices on Unbroken Bonds, but you know, got this one in the mail, sent it off to get graded, and wouldn't you believe it, it got a Gem Mint 10. So this was a huge win for me, mainly because I didn't even expect it to get that grade, but ironically enough, it did. And given that this is the chase card from Unbroken Bonds, this is a, you know, amazing thing. Now, this has happened to me in the past. It's happened to me twice now. I bought a Salamence secret rare and got a PSA 10 as well. And so it's not uncommon for me, I don't know why, to buy these cards off of eBay of all places and still get a pretty decent grade on them. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. And here is quite literally an example of that. Here is a Burning Shadows Charizard that I got, and unfortunately bought it off of Troll and Toad for like 200 bucks. And may I just say, the centering, not necessarily the best. I honestly was hoping for the off-center marker on this one, but I unfortunately didn't get that. Instead, you can see that there's basically no bottom border, and there's effectively like all top border. So I was hoping it was going to get a 9 off center, but decidedly not. This is the, you know, secret rare chase card out of Burning Shadows. Has a history of really bad print runs, and as you can see, this card is incredibly off center, top to bottom. And then also has some whitening in that corner. So all in all, $200. I think this card is now worth more than that. So, you know, for what it's worth, I'm happy. Obviously, many of these purchases in the long run make a lot of sense, but I'm also a big advocate of evaluating these things sort of in the shorter term, because it's nice to know that you didn't spend a whole bunch of money and then you have to wait some stupid long period of time before you get that money back. Here is a Call of Legends Lugia So here is another really sought after card. I am really happy because I have a binder version of the card as well as this version of the card. So I'm not too upset about the grade. I'm just happy to have one because I'm obviously, you know, while I set a goal for myself to collect them, I'm not necessarily too concerned about, you know, chasing them much further than this. I do have a pretty nasty ding right over here. I do have some whitening on these two corners, and of course with a card like this one, it is very common that some surface defects also exist, mainly because practically this entire card is holographic. In fact, there's also a very light crease running across the side right here, which may have also played a role in the grade that it got. As we've seen, when it's creased on one side but that doesn't go through to the back end, there's a pretty fair chance that it will grade pretty highly as a 6, but when it creases through the front and the back, it will likely get a PSA 5. Next up is, you guys are going to think I'm basic, another Burning Shadows Secret Rare Charizard. This one graded a mint 9, so I'm very excited about this one. The centering on this one is skewed top to bottom and left to right, so this is a hot mess of a card. This card is pretty rough on the top. There's basically no border on the top, all on the bottom. Same thing over here, and then no edging on this side. Don't understand how this card with such bad centering got the grade that it did, but hey, I'm not the one measuring it, so whatever. The back of this card has one white spot right here. So I know for a fact, you know, centering aside, this is the white dot that messed me up. I would have liked a PSA 10 at this point. I don't think I will be getting a PSA 10, but it is certainly nice to think that, you know, very wishful thinking that I would have gotten a PSA 10 sometime. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll pick up some random packs and I will pull one. So next up on the list is a series of Flash Fire cards. So these are the Charizard full art from Flash Fire. These are really dope for a variety of reasons, but I really just like the artwork that Charizard has. He's basically like angry Charizard looking back at you while he flies away, and these are really cool looking cards. Now Flash Fire has obviously become famous for the amount of Charizards that you can pull from it, and obviously there's tons of sort of built-in value there just purely based off the fact that, you know, there are many Charizards. The funny part about this particular card, I bought 6, and get this, I got 2 near mints, 3 near mints, 4 near mints. So I literally have, you know, in sequential order, 128, 129, 130, and 131, and they are all near mint 8 Flash Fires. That's a pretty cool shot for the thumbnail if I can pull that off. But yeah, you know, my luck. Near mint 8, really not that bad. You know, recent sale price will be on screen. Obviously near mint 8s will have a little bit of burring, a little bit of scratching. With these textured cards, it's a little bit easier to get away with scratches on the surface, mainly because what even is a scratch on a textured surface anyway. But for the most part, as I'm looking at the backs of each of these cards, it's pretty obvious that these were going to end up being PSA 8s. They all have that pretty consistent amount of whitening on them, and it's to the point where you can't simply ignore it. You definitely have to acknowledge it for what it is. But there you go, 4 Flash Fire Charizards, beautiful cards. Really happy I picked them up, and more importantly, I have duplicates, which is good because in the future, if a trade comes along or if I want to sell one for some extra cash, I have the ability to do so. Finally but not least, we have the Black and White Plasma Storm Charizard. More importantly, we have 3 of them. So, in no particular order, we have a 8, a 7, and a 8. So this is you know, another kind of situation where they're kind of like in order. So a couple of thoughts and statements about these cards. Black and White, their gimmick for secret rares was let's print it in gold foil and then let's make the Pokemon shiny. And so Charizard and Blastoise got, you know, similar treatment. What's cool about these cards, obviously, is that they are textured as well as have the gold sort of border, which is a beautiful setup. The problem with this Charizard is that in the past, it has been acknowledged that the print quality on these was horrendous. Now, I saw all 3 of these cards come up for sale, and I thought to myself, there's no better time like the present, my friend. And during the summer of, I don't even know when, I ended up just buying them, you know, kind of like brainless activity. I spent about $200 per card, and I submitted them knowing that there may not be a chance in the future to grab these cards for, at the time, was a very high price, but I'm nearly positive cards that are quote unquote in as good condition as this will probably sell for a lot more in the future. And so, you know, given how poor print quality is acknowledged to exist for these cards, and the fact that, you know, I wish you the best of luck in even finding these cards now, I think it was a pretty solid decision. And as you can see, I have 3 of them. Again, 2 8s. I might keep the 7 and then use the 8s as leverage for some type of transaction that happens in the future. But other than that, friends, thank you again, as always, for checking out another video. You could have been anywhere on the internet, but you chose to hang out with me, and that means the world. Other than that, if you liked today's video, feel free to leave a like, and if you're not already, feel free to join the Gengar Gang. Other than that, friends, I hope you all are having an amazing day, and we will talk soon. Peace.